A Miami judge on Friday dismissed one of the 19 voter fraud prosecutions loudly trumpeted by Florida's governor, Ron DeSantis, a significant development that comes as the cases draw scrutiny. Friday's case involved Robert Lee Wood, a 56-year-old Miami man who registered to vote in 2020 and ran in last year's presidential election. Prosecutors charged Wood, who is black, and said he registered and voted because he knew he wasn't eligible. He was out of the question because he was convicted in 1991, but Wood said he didn't know. He registered in 2020 when approached by a recruiter and had received a voter registration card from the state. Judge Milton Hirsch dismissed the case Friday. Wood was charged with 2 third-degree felonies, each punishable by up to 5 years in prison and a $5,000 fine. The indictments, which concern all persons with criminal records, have been subjected to intensive scrutiny. Several of the defendants said they were unaware they could not vote and were only informed of their ineligibility after they voted. Hirsch dismissed the case because he said prosecutors exceeded their powers in filing charges against Wood. In a motion to dismiss the case, Wood's attorney argued that the prosecutor's office, which handles all 19 cases, does not have the authority to handle the case. In Florida, the state attorney general has the authority to only hear cases involving criminal conduct in 2 or more judicial districts in the state. But Wood registered and voted in one place, Miami. Prosecutors argued that Wood committed a multi-jurisdictional offense. Although he registered and voted in Miami, his registration was submitted to the state capital, Tallahassee, for verification. The crime, the state argued, was therefore committed in 2 jurisdictions. In their argument, state prosecutors argued that they had the authority to prosecute election crimes anywhere in Florida. Hirsch disagreed and said the crime, if there was one, occurred exclusively in Miami. Robert Lee Wood's misconduct, if misconduct it was, consisted in registering to vote, and voting, in his county of residence. Yes, his voter application and his ballot were transported to another Florida jurisdiction. But they were not transported by him, nor by any putatively criminal co-perpetrator, he wrote in his verdict. Even assuming that Mr. Wood's passive role in the transmission of his voter application form and completed ballot to Tallahassee is activity that can be ascribed to him, it is not his criminal activity. In 2018, Florida voters passed a constitutional amendment that restored voting rights to those with crimes, except for those convicted of murder and sex offenses. Some of the defendants have said they believe the amendment restored their voting rights. The state has yet to provide evidence that one of the defendants, all of whom had prior murder or sex offenses, knew they were exempt from the change. Body camera footage of some of the defendants arrested in Hillsborough County, obtained by The Guardian and the Tampa Bay Times, showed their confusion as they were handcuffed on voter fraud allegations. A spokeswoman for Florida Attorney General Ashley Moody, a Republican who appoints the state attorney general, said her office will appeal the verdict. "We believe this was an incorrect analysis of jurisdiction and OSP will appeal," Nicholas Cox, the state attorney general, said in a statement. Given that elections violations of this nature impact all Florida voters, elections officials, state government, and the integrity of our republic, we continue to view the Florida Office of Statewide Prosecution as the appropriate agency to prosecute these crimes, Brian Griffin, a DeSantis spokesman, said in a statement. The state will continue to enforce the law and ensure that murderers and rapists who are not permitted to vote do not unlawfully do so. Florida will not be a state in which elections are left vulnerable or cheaters unaccountable. Attorneys representing several of the other defendants have filed similar motions in other counties across the state. Friday's motion is significant because the other attorneys are likely to use it to strengthen their cases. The lawyers that are working with these 20 defendants, they're all aware of the motions that were filed in this case and are now aware of the order that was entered, said Larry Davis, Wood's attorney. I believe his decision will carry weight not only in his own circuit but in circuits around the state. DeSantis held a press conference in August to announce the charges. Flanked by uniformed law enforcement, the governor described it as the opening salvo of a new office dedicated to fighting voter fraud, which is a rare occurrence. They did not go through any process, they did not get their rights restored, and yet they went ahead and voted anyways. That is against the law, and now they're gonna pay the price for it.